And welcome back. Today I will be talking about business development, and hence we are here at Hive, Turku Game Hub, where Mitel offices are. And as we are in the office, even that I am in the phone cubicle, there might be some sounds coming out from around, so apologies if you hear any noises from surrounding. I have been asked many times, how do we approach and find the clients, and also just generally, how do we do B2B services for other developers, publishers, or generally different kind of clients? And to answer that, one of the most important things, in my opinion at least, is to figure out what is it that you would actually like to provide. What kind of talent and skill set, from the services to possibly even product that you are selling, what is it that you would like to offer to others? So that's starting from the own preferences and own talent, like what it is that you feel that you can offer to others. And why I'm starting from the individual towards the group is that even as a team, your team members, each of them have their own talents, own skill sets, own interests and things that they can contribute as well. So basically, it's really important to list what it is that you as a team would be willing to contribute to different kind of projects for different kind of clients. And to approach that, it's also understanding what is the value that you can provide to these teams. Because when someone is looking for outsourcing partner, they are looking for a way to ease their work. So you are making sure that their life and work is way easier, that you are solving whatever issues they might have on their behalf, and therefore you bring extra value to the whole project and their team, as they can then focus on other things that they want to focus on. So figuring out the match between what you can offer with what are the needs out there is one of the first steps. Then, when you know that, it's really good to make a list. I approach everything visually, as you can imagine, like, ooh, surprise. So visually, I try to approach the sales as, you have a menu. You have a menu of different items, products, services that you can offer for someone, and you can then offer different kind of packages and combination of different things that might be suited for, again, different companies in different combos. There's no such a thing as too small or too big of a project. Being able to help someone with specific needs that they might have with their project, and really learning to listen again, what are their needs. It can be something very small that you can do and actually increase a lot of quality. It could lead also to some bigger projects together. It could lead to some other client that they might recommend you to. Of course, when it comes to sales, sales. In my experience, it was always way better approaching people as a person, not as this sort of cold email sales or even calling someone on the phone. Like, no. And again, I know it works for many people, so I'm not saying this doesn't work. I'm just saying for me, it doesn't work. And for also my team, when we have been sharing some load on sales cases and so on, absolutely that didn't work for us. So any kind of cold mails and so on, no. What does work, though, is being present, local events, gatherings, meetups, networking opportunities of various sorts, where you can just meet other people, where you can build that trust and relationships, regardless, will it lead to any sales? It doesn't have to. The point is that people being aware that you are there, this is what you can provide, and again, trusting you that even if you can't provide, that you know maybe someone in your network who could be of help for them. And that happens so many times that I would be the one who just connected others and like, yeah, go for it. And as long as it's a good match, that's all that matters. It doesn't always have to be that you are going, even to this kind of networking. I'm not a big fan of the word networking. Instead, I always try to approach it as making these meaningful connections with someone. So when I'm going to events, especially as introvert, and I know it comes as a surprise for some that I am an introvert. I actually am a really big introvert. It just doesn't come up like that because I'm trained to be speaking in public, do things in public, represent the team, represent the project, speak to the camera and so on. But trust me, if 16-year-old me would see this, she would scream and have extra panic attacks under the bed or something. All of this can be learned, can be trained, and it takes time. But it's, as mentioned many times before, it's all what makes you feel comfortable, and then gradually getting out from the comfort zone to try different stuff and see what works for you. And that's also with the sales. That's why, as I said, for me, I don't feel comfortable to call people because I am the one who barely ever answers the phone. And not because I don't like answering the phone, but because I am at the meetings. Most of my days, I'm at other meetings. And if I don't have a phone number already in the phone book or something that I know, or some message saying, hey, I tried reaching you and blah, 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 this is who I am, this is what I need, then basically it's very hard for me to know, like, it might be just another random sales call from, local internet provider or whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is, I don't feel comfortable calling someone and at the same time I don't feel comfortable someone calling me, especially to do sales. So what works is that I can directly pitch projects, services, whatever it is, but there would be already connection with the company, with the people, in some way there would be something to connect us, so it would be way easier to actually discuss anything, if not now, for the future, to know that we are available, and if any opportunity comes up that they can consider us, another way around, because we also, as our company, is also looking for different outsourcing opportunities, especially for our own projects. I'm always looking for teams that we can collaborate, or maybe we together could collaborate on some much bigger project for any of the clients, which require multiple teams and bigger team actually as such to work upon. So it's all about creating these meaningful connections. That's really what it's all about. Now, another thing that comes very often is the pricing. That's a tricky one. It can start from the region where you are at. So you can explore what are the actual wages in your local region, because again, it is different pricing in different even regions of the country, not just different countries, obviously, but it's just like different regions. For example, my tail is in Turku. Turku is one of the bigger cities in Finland, just hour and a half away from Helsinki on the west side. And here, life is way cheaper. Generally, like the wages are also lower than in the capital. That doesn't mean that now you need to lower your prices just because you are not, let's say, in the capital area. But so you can always start with the approach that what makes me feel comfortable and also what makes sense, so that you are not underpricing yourself or again overpricing when it comes to kind of is it reasonable. But of course, hey, if you find a client who wishes to pay you extra just because they can, then go for it. That's a win-win. So I always approach in the fair kind of like what it is that, based on our expertise, based on the years of experience and everything else, would be the wage either per hour or again per service that we provide and so forth. Because when you are considering doing the lower wages, it's not just about you underpricing yourself. It can really have a bad impact to the other developers in the whole region or even the country. Because the thing is that you are setting the lower bar, which is then having a problem for others. And this is the same thing in art circles. There is, for every kind of work, there is some middle ground to which you should be at least starting from. Like this could be your starting point. And then as you are building upon your brand and expertise and so on, of course you can increase. Lower pricing can actually affect others. And this is something to have in mind as well. So just being cheaper doesn't mean automatically that it's a good thing or it would be something that would nail you a job. It raises a lot of questions when lower than expected kind of like pricing. So you don't think about that lower pricing will guarantee any kind of sales. go with what is standard. That is, especially in the current market situation and so on, that is the best way to start. So don't be afraid to discuss possible raises in that sense as the time goes by. As an indie studio, what I would really recommend to do is to also establish your spot within that market. So you with your own products and also you with the services that you provide. So kind of like both things, but put yourself, your position on the market, where you stand and how you approach it. That will help you a lot in building steady growth, especially in the direction that you feel comfortable with. Because that is all that really matters at the end of the day, especially if you're growing your business. You want to be also careful not to grow too fast. If some turbulences on the market happen, that you don't have to make, rash decisions and possibly some really bad leadership choices, as we can see currently in the market, what's happening with so many layoffs. To be honest, layoffs would not happen if there was better choices done by leadership in good time. But that's a topic for another day. So try to prevent, try to think at least few steps ahead. And this is where kind of this sort of plan B and C, it's good to have just in case of certain scenarios that might happen. But then again, it might not. And therefore, all is well. But don't rush into things. And that's why also outsourcing is really good on your behalf. So basically, if you are looking maybe for a talent, it takes time to onboard someone. So it's really good if you can, maybe while you are searching for new candidates and doing the recruitment, that you could outsource that specific thing to someone else to help you out, just like someone else might outsource from you in your team when they needed something, while you are figuring out others. So the project and development keeps on going as planned, so no delays happen. Where to find the clients? That's another question that I get quite often. It's a good one. I mean, just like as I mentioned, like when you are figuring out what is the problem that you are solving for some potential client, or what is the value that you are bringing to the table in the discussions with the potential clients or partners. You can even check which companies you would like to work with. And then you can check on their website, usually even with the open positions, you can check what is it that they are looking for now, maybe from the talent. Maybe they have some even call for outsourcing, or there could be even some open calls, especially on the public sector, especially on the country level, when there is a public sector needing some sort of expertise, especially in IT, gaming, and so on. They have a public call in a dedicated website, so you can check what are the open calls there, that there could be some project that you can contribute in whichever capacity, and you can make an application. Then you can also use agency. So I have been also working a lot with the sales agents, and it can be this sort of also additional source of finding work, which of course agents will have different kind of negotiations there can be as well, and what kind of cuts they would take and what kind of arrangements there would be. But it's always good to have, just like not having all the eggs in one basket, same here. You don't want to do necessarily all the sales yourself. Have someone to represent you, have someone to actually have you in their list as well, that you would be potential service provider for someone else that they have in their network. So you can always have agency representing you as well as you are doing your own sales. I would not hold my breath that now agent will find work for us. That's why it's good to have many options, and you never know where some lead could come from. And of course, when there is a trust, there is also where recommendation from fellow colleagues from the industry comes, because they know your work, they know what you can do and how you do, so therefore they will also recommend you. So once again, meaningful connections, trusted and professional relationships will take you a long way. And of course, building a portfolio. So when you're building your portfolio, people usually say, oh, but we can't put this and that, and we can't put this, what we work for this and that company. Of course not. And that's absolutely okay. But what you can do is, of course, especially if you are not having some client project at the moment or something else, except you can always work on additional tasks and things and projects, or even mock-ups, and build the portfolio in a specific segments that you think would be necessary to expand your portfolio so you can showcase what you can do. That can be additional 3D models with a whole whatever, maybe environment concepts, character concepts. It can be UI UX frameworks. It can be all sorts of stuff that you can put and work upon as building your portfolio when you don't have other kind of projects that you, especially if you can't show these results publicly for whatever time and whatever restrictions under NDA and whatever else there might be. Just make sure that you always build further your own portfolio. And then, how to structure your portfolio. Back in the day, we used to have giant PowerPoint presentations as Google Slides, but nowadays it's more of a Canva portfolio full of, for example, of 3D things, 2D stuff, UI, UX, even, animation, GIFs, things and whatnot. And depending to whom we're pitching, then basically we will customize and take what is needed and what is the best showcasing for specific client and pitching that we are doing. So having somewhere these giant files that can help you easily navigate and that also different people can contribute in building, but also build their own decks out of it and do the sales on behalf of the team. So these are some tips that I just wanted very briefly to share with you today. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for all the questions. Please keep them coming. I am very much looking forward to continue this discussion, and if any further questions come, please put them down in the comments, and see you in the next one.